Hi, and let me start my presentation. The topic of my presentation, one possible future of Drupal. And before I'm starting, let me introduce myself. I'm Vasyl Yaremchuk, current my position CMS Department Practice Lead at Spit Function. It's the international company with headquarters in the United States and most part of developers in the Eastern Europe. And there you can see my Twitter and my Drupal.org profile, and of course my personal site. I want to start the discussion and with you with the question: what platform do you use for a personal site? Could you share your in chat? It could be Drupal, it could be WordPress, it could be something like GitHub Pages. And what platform do you use for a personal site? Drupal? Yes, it's obvious because we are on Drupal conference, and I think that I think maybe 90 or even 99% people, if they have their personal site, use Drupal. But let's talk about possible options and what options can be. It could be static HTML, so you just create a markup and put styles and put images and put it on some static hosting. And it could be some lazy way. For example, we can use some SaaS platform like Wix or Squarespace or Webflow and just create an account and get your personal site, because that platform have everything that you need: blog, gallery, ability to put portfolio, CV, and so on, and even feedback form. And of course, it can be a regular CMS solution like WordPress, Drupal, or Joomla. Also, we can use something more modern like Yuga, Gatsby, Jekyll, and to generate static. I saw in a chat static PHP, and I am also curious, what is it? Maybe Yuri, could you explain in chat? Okay, and let's continue. From my point of view, when I select platform to run my personal site, I have some thoughts about that, because to tell through, I am not don't have enough time to put changes every day and to put some blog posts. Typically, I make maybe several blog posts per year, and I do some changes on my personal site maybe not frequently, that once per month. And I don't want to spend significant amount of money to the hosting, because it's just a personal site and I didn't expect some clients or some income. It's just a pet project. And also I don't have several hours per month to keep it updated. For the projects that we are working on, that you need to have Drupal up to date to avoid any vulnerabilities. But of course, I can create a static HTML site for blog, for my CV, but I need to show my expertise in Drupal, and as a Drupal developer, as a Drupal lover, I want to create my personal site in Drupal. And it's my points to select the platform for my personal site. And so let's discuss about my pros and cons to select the platform. The first pros to use Drupal for it, because I have expertise in Drupal and I can create exactly that I need. And of course, Drupal has all required functionality to cover my needs out of the box. And to tell through, I don't need to put any custom code to reach my needs. But what is the cons? The main cons that to have fast Drupal site, I need to have good hosting. It could be Pantheon, it could be maybe Acquia or AWS, not a tiny instance or some good instance of DigitalOcean or something like that. And the most painful feature, most painful cons, that I need to keep it up to date. I don't want to have my site hacked. So we have pros and cons, and we need to have some solutions that can be valuable for me. And let's dream a bit. Let's imagine an ideal solution that I want. And what's the ideal solution? I need to have admin area to edit my site, but I need it only in the time when I need to make changes. And I don't want it to take hosting space and resources when I didn't use it, but when I don't use it. And I don't want to have it because it can cause any vulnerabilities a long time, I mean. And what do you think? Does it impossible? Maybe it's something crazy. Okay, let's see. It's my personal site, abzaza.com. It made with Drupal. If you reach that site and view source, you can see in generator that it's Drupal 9. And also it's shared Lighthouse score, and the score is pretty good. You can think that, oh, it was run on very cool hosting, maybe on some very large AWS instance or something like that. But really, it's just a static site generated in Drupal. If you try to go to /user page, you don't see login page and just not found page, because it's I use Tome as a static site generator. It's a static site generator for Drupal 8 and Drupal 9. You can reach this link and get the information and how to start working with Tome and how to use it and how to generate static sites. So I am not going to repeat all this guideline. I just want to mention what submodels I use for my work now. And the first submodel, and I think it's a very robust, it's Tome Sync. It allow us to store content exactly like store configs in files, and we can export content and configs and save it in our repository, and it could be years and years in that repository, and after that we can get it from repository and just import configs in Drupal and have configs and content, and have a site together with content run. And the core of this functionality, Tome Static, that generates static HTML from your Drupal site, and Also, there is submodule Tome Netlify that I use to publish my static site on Netlify. So how it works, let me explain how it works in outline. So I have a repository, and I just need to turn on some instance. It could be some temporary instance, and get all this stuff from repository, run composer.json to get some third-party libraries like Drupal and other stuff. And after that, run that site, make changes that I want to do, and after that, compile static version, publish it. And the main important step in that case, I need to export my changes again in files and push it in repository for the next time when I want to make any changes. And of course, turn off the instance. But usually I use my local installation to run it locally and to make changes locally and to pull it on Netlify hosting. Okay, and it's how it works in my case. So I clone repository from my private repository. After that, I should mention that there are a few ways. So you can use Docker for Drupal. You can run Drush server. You can use even Acquia Dev Desktop to run your local version, but I prefer Lambda. I use Drupal 9 recipe, and I start Lambda. After that, I run Composer inside Lambda, and after that, I run Drush command, Tome install Drush command that allow me to install my site from configs and content. And after that, I just got admin link to login in admin by Drush ULI, make my updates, and generate a static site. I prefer, when I have Drupal admin locally, I prefer to do that in Drupal admin. There is a way to run some command line commands, but I like Drupal admin. So after that, I send it to Netlify, a new version of site, and run export my changes, push it in repository, and turn off my local instance. And it's the, let me skip that. Okay, what profits do you have of the such approach? First of all, first profit is a security. If we don't have Drupal admin, it can be hacked. The second value is performance. It's sure that static site will work much faster than any CMS, even good cached. And the third reason is an inexpensive hosting. For example, I host my site on Netlify for nothing. I just pay for the domain. And the fourth reason that I should mention against, for example, static HTML version or static site generators such as Hyuga or Jekyll or something like that, it's I have unlimited customization abilities of Drupal contributed models, so I can create my Drupal site and get exactly that I need and customize it. And after that, get static site exactly that I need. Okay, the next. But let me mention one thing. So you can see that I propose to have admin area just only we have changes. But of course, you can have this have admin area run locally permanently all time, or you can have some small hosting or say on AWS instance, I mean micro instance, and it could be enough for you as a single admin. Or there is also very inexpensive, I think, free way. You can use Pantheon.io dev site. It's free for the development. You can run Tome on that free Pantheon dev site, and you can generate static on it, and you can post it on Netlify. I tried that, it works. You just need to put some custom location for that static files. But I hope Drew Gorton from previous session didn't hear that, because I think he can close that option and that sheet of Pantheon. Okay, and I just want to mention that you should just set basic authorization to and forget about vulnerabilities. But I prefer to have admin area run only when I need to make changes. Okay, what's the next? Yes, as soon as we don't have admin area, it's very good from one point of view, because we don't have any way for the site to be hacked. But we admin area serve with a different dynamic content, and we need to find out how we need to handle this dynamic content. And what is the most common parts of dynamic content we have on personal sites or on marketing sites? It could be comments, it could be contact form, and it could be search. And for comments, we can use third-party service. For example, I use Disqus. For contact form, I use Netlify form solution, but we can use any other solutions, third-party solutions. We can send any contact form data exactly in your CRM, or some maybe directly on email or something like that. So there are a lot of ways to resolve that problem. And about the search, we can use Lanner search. It's one of submodels of Tome ecosystem, and it can work on a static solution and search from JSON sources that already created statically. What's the next? Yes, and let we talk a bit about more complex cases. So it's obvious that we can use such architecture, Tome as a Drupal and Tome as a static site generator for personal sites or for, say, marketing sites. But can we use it for more complex cases? Yes, I think it's a simple scheme how we can use it for internet store. So we can have Drupal with Drupal users and products, and we can have some front-end implementation, and we can publish products to that front page. But we can handle with cart and with checkout by non-Drupal way. So we can use maybe some third-party storage or some microservices and save this data outside Drupal. And after that, we can say use the same Drupal to and request this data about store users and about orders, about delivery information in our Drupal and use it as a dashboard for store admins and store managers. But I have what thought? We should mention that there is an alternative in such architecture. So we it's because it's just something like decoupled solution or headless solution, we can use some alternatives. For example, I should mention the alternative. We can use Gatsby as a provider of static content from Drupal to that application, or we can use a very good solution, Next.js for Drupal. And the other question, do we really need Drupal in that case? Because we don't have Drupal in front end, it's something custom. And why we can't replace Drupal with some custom CRM or some custom admin dashboard and just have some custom system? It's a good question why we can have Drupal. And there are a few reasons that we can use Drupal in such infrastructure, as a core of such infrastructure. The first reason that we are Drupal developers, we have expertise in Drupal and we know how to work it and how easy to get that infrastructure, how to manage users and any entities inside Drupal and set up exactly that we need. And we have Tome ecosystem that can handle with static and cover some kind of, and we have some recipes to cover the dynamic content cases such as learner search. But also we have a number of models in Drupal ecosystems that allow us to get exactly that we need. Yes, and I promise you in my session proposal that I mentioned how to run your custom Wix on Drupal. It's pretty easy, and I think you have visited the previous session about Gutenberg. It could be a very good solution to run some custom page builder for non-qualified users, so we can use Drupal as a SaaS platform. Users can be platform users can be Drupal users, then they can use paragraphs, Gutenberg or layout page builder to easily create the featured pages, and after that we can publish that pages to some individual static sites and point their domains to exactly to that static sites. But of course there is, in that configuration we have one tricky thing that Tome now can't work with multiple sites, so you need to put some custom code to make it handle with not one static site but with multiple static sites. But I think this task is not very complex. And finally, one more bonus idea how we can use Tome. I mentioned that Tome Sync is a very powerful model of Tome ecosystem. It can save config settings and content settings in files, and it can import from files to Drupal. So it could be very helpful to create some kind, I think you know Umami profile that included in Drupal installation, and you can easily to install featured site with a lot of content, and demonstrate your clients how they can work with Drupal admin, with different parts of content, and you can create such kind of demos without any custom installation profile. Just click and input any dummy content, set up any beautiful pages, and just export it in files and put it in repository. And when you need to have some demo, you just need to clone repository, install Composer, and run drush Tome column install. Oh, yes. And finally, I want to express my gratitude to Samuel Mortenson, the main contributor of Tome ecosystem. Yes, and let me show how we have a lot of time, and maybe I can show you how a small demo. One moment, let me share my screen. And can you see my screen? And it's how on terminal screen you can see how easy to run it locally. So I just clone my repository, and after that I start Lambda, and of course it's empty, so it read, and I need to run Composer, and it can take a few minutes to get all dependencies and to resolve them. And after that I just need to install my content and configs from files, and get this link to log into the site. And maybe one moment, let's try to do that. It's one-time login link. It could take a few seconds, and voila, I'm in my admin area, and I can make changes in content, send new blog posts, and after that I can publish it on my static site. What is it? And as I mentioned, it's not Drupal. Okay, I think that's it from my side. One moment. So I just want to request your feedback. So if you have a few time, please fulfill this feedback about my presentation, I have a few questions, and you can reach feedback form by that QR code. And also you can ask any questions now, or can reach me in Drupal Slack, or by drupal.org contact form, or you can reach me in Skype. Oh, let me go to questions. What's the biggest name behind you? Huh. It's a good question. It's just a toy of my younger daughter. I don't know his or her name, but I will ask. And do you have any questions? It was questions about Gutenberg and okay, and okay, if you don't have any other questions, I think that that's it from my side, and we can finalize the first day of this beautiful Drupal event. Yes, Conrad write down that it's an interesting approach to build demo sites. Yep. As for the Tome as a tool for generating your personal site, there is a way some concerns about stability of Tome project and its future. It's a good question. Yes, I saw some issues when we have some complex functionality, and of course some views when for example you can use some facets or some complex views couldn't be work correctly in static, of course. And I'm not sure about multi-language and so on. So it could be tested. And about its future, I also don't know, but I hope that it works perfect with Drupal 9. So I hope that uh, community can support it and can contribute in different solutions in different submodules of Tome ecosystem. Thank you, Conrad. I appreciated your mark. And I would like to know, you guys, do you impressed that, and do you have a chance to try it on some of your projects, and of course if you will have some difficulties to start with it, please don't hesitate to reach me and to ask questions, and I will try to help you to set up it.